When younger, said he, I believed myself destined for some great enterprise. When I reflected on the work I had completed, no less a one than the creation of a sensitive and rational animal, I could not rank myself with the herd of common projectors. So, Frankenstein, to me, is a story about pride, immaturity, and the question of whether we're responsible for the things we create. But a little bit more on that later. I also love the saying that Frankenstein is about a humane monster and the monstrous man, because it really is. To me, in a nutshell, the story is about Dr. Frankenstein, who is, by the way, the human creating the monster, not the monster itself. He's a young man, he's obsessed with alchemy, and he gets into this frantic state and tries to create a human by sewing together parts of corpses that he finds. And when he actually succeeds and the monster opens his eyes, he's terrified, he's disgusted by what he just did. So not only by the creation, but also by the fact that now he can't undo what he has done. And the monster, who is just looking for love and affection from human beings, but most of all from his creator, finds nothing but rejection and slowly turns evil. And to me, that's really the heart of the novel, is this question of, are we responsible for what we create? And I think this book is a resounding yes to that answer, to that question, sorry. And it's a call to think about whether we're actually mature enough to handle what we're creating, and also, have we thought the consequences of this through, the social consequences. And it really makes me think of modern developments in artificial intelligence. Not that I know so much about it, but the sewn together parts that become a new human really made me think of, all the information that goes into an AI, and how it then becomes this new kind of artificial thing that can also produce its own content, and is now almost like let loose onto all of humanity, not knowing whether we're actually able to work with that in a mature way. And I think it was Ken Wilber who said that, I'm paraphrasing, but the biggest problem of our time is that our outer development is so much ahead of our inner development. And what he means by that is that, our technology, our progress in the material world is going so quickly, and we barely spend any time developing ourselves. And that is why we now have things like super processed food and internet, and a lot of people are addicted to it and cannot handle it in a good way. I think Frankenstein perfectly represents that anxiety that we have, that fear that our creations might, maliciously turn against us, or whether playing God is at our expense. The monster says in a certain part of the book, it says, "You are my creator, but I am your master." So that really stuck with me. If you're interested in the story, Frankenstein is also called the modern Prometheus. And if we look to Aeschylus's Prometheus Bound, it's also the fall of a man because of pride. So it's really interesting to read that text too. There's a great podcast episode by Hardcore Literature, I think it's on Spotify, about Prometheus Bound. I can really, really recommend it. It's quite interesting. So I think what I really take from this book is that we need a sort of moral compass when we're creating something, something that keeps us grounded, almost like a code of ethics, or that keeps us accountable, that we're not flying off in some way. Personally, I was really surprised to feel mainly pity when I was reading Frankenstein. I thought I would be very afraid, or I would find it weird or something. But it's really a lesson in human empathy. And I had to think about a Shakespeare sonnet I want to read to you when I got towards the end of the novel, and I kind of saw what that monster has gone through, and his search for love. So I want to read that to you. Some glory in their birth, some in their skill, some in their wealth, some in their body's force, some in their garments, though new-fangled ill, some in their hawks and hounds, some in their horse. And every humour hath his adjunct pleasure, wherein it finds a joy above the rest. But these particulars are not my measure, all these I better, and one general best. Thy love is better than high birth to me, richer than wealth, prouder than garments cost, of more delight than hawks or horses be, and having thee, of all men's pride, I boast. Wretched in this alone, that thou mayst take all this away, and me most wretched make. Maybe it's because the word wretched is so often mentioned in Shakespeare, but it's also this the humaneness of the monster, of just wanting to be loved. And I've done a lot of primal work and trauma work, and it's really quite fascinating to me how Mary Shelley really got this across so well, that we need love and appreciation from the people that create us. And if we don't, we really do turn evil in a way. Not malicious, not, it's not like we want to do that, but it just happens. And the monster says at a certain point in the book, like Adam, I was apparently united by no link to any other being in existence, but his state was far different from mine in every other respect. He had come forth from the hands of God, a perfect creature, happy and prosperous, guarded by the special care of his Creator. He was allowed to converse with and acquire knowledge from beings of a superior nature. But I was wretched, helpless, and alone. So we want to be seen and helped by our Creator, and this is exactly what this Creator couldn't do. There's definitely more things I loved about this novel. I was reading it actually on a night train when I was going to the Netherlands, and that was perfect. So if you're going somewhere by train, I think it's a perfect novel to read, especially through Europe, because the beautiful descriptions of the landscapes of Europe are just so fitting. I'll read you a few. It's super lovely. So he says, the blue lake and snow-clad mountains, they never change. And I think our place at home and our contented hearts are regulated by the same immutable laws. But it was augmented and rendered sublime by the mighty Alps, whose white and shining pyramids and domes towered above all, as belonging to another earth, the habitations of another race of beings. And that was just lovely to also read a novel that, talks about the landscapes that aren't too far from me. I definitely have the Alps around, so that was really special. I was also very touched by the backstory of the book, and that Mary Shelley actually had a child that was born prematurely, I think 2 months too early, and then it only lived for 1 month. and it apparently really inspired this story because she had dreams about the baby coming back alive. She said it was all cold and then they rubbed it warm by the fire and suddenly it was back alive, you know. So there's definitely a lot of pain, personal pain running through this novel. And I'm also fascinated how this was written more than 200 years ago and it's still so relevant. I mean, more relevant than ever, I think, now in this time that everyone wants to be like a creator, an entrepreneur, you know, but also with technological improvements that are constantly happening, right? I think it's super relevant to read this novel. It's also written in a lovely way. Mary Shelley's writing and her English is just, it's really not difficult. It's extremely, I don't know, it feels very, I don't know, like almost noble or something. It's definitely a great novel to learn better English, I found. And yeah, it's super great. So tell me what you think. Who's the real monster? I'd love to hear any thoughts on it, and maybe comment down below what you're thinking. I'd love to hear from you. Subscribe to this channel if you'd like to see more content like that, and I'll see you again soon. Bye!